Hello and welcome to Happy Cells and Souls. My name is Julie Powers and I'm a licensed Zumba instructor and an affiliate with the Juice Plus company. And my mission in life is to help people know that life is better when they're dancing through it and that we should have healthy, happy bodies. We need to have better health at the cellular level and more joy at the cellular level. And I love talking with people in this channel where I get to hear about how they're impacting the world in positive, amazing ways and bringing joy and love and light into the world. And today I get to talk with Sheri Arechiga. I did the little roll there. And I first met Sheri last year, and I find you to be such a fascinating person. And for those of you watching this, I have a list of all of her credentials that's 2 pages long of all the trainings, certifications, education, degrees, everything that this woman has. But Sheri, you have learned so many things and you've had so many different experiences. And today, at this point in your life, you're really focusing more in on animals, animal health, energy healing for animals and humans. But I'd love for you to just start with, where did this all begin? It was not a happy story that got you here, but here you are years later in a completely different place.
Yes, thank you, Julie. And I do want to thank you so much for allowing me to come on the show. It's going to be a really fun topic. But yes, I started this entire journey of healing in all sorts of ways because of a tragedy that happened in my life. I was married at the age of 20, and he was murdered 2 weeks later. And so, as you can imagine, it was very traumatic. Um, but it also cracked me open in a way that I never thought possible.
Mm.
At the age of 20, I found myself lost. I found myself questioning life, questioning who I am, where do you go when you die, all of these things that just I had never thought about before. And I had always been sensitive and intuitive, but this really shifted and changed things for me on a whole nother level. So
Right.
after this happened, I took a trip to Egypt to go on a tour with one of my mentors, and I had read her book, and it kind of explained some of these questions that I had had. And so I was just soul searching. So I took the trip to Egypt, and then after that I came back and really decided to go to all these different classes to learn as much as I possibly could. So I started with hypnotherapy. I actually did a session for myself on myself. I went to a practitioner, and because I was trying everything to heal.
Mhm.
I loved it so much that I signed up for the training, and it was a 2-year program, and became a hypnotherapist. Then I went to yoga teacher training, and then I did 2 forms of Reiki energy healing. So I am a Reiki Master, a yoga instructor, and so it just really cracked me open, and just wanting to learn more about life and just live. I traveled a lot all over the world, as much as I possibly could.
Right, right. And so I know that part of that was, you were trying to find answers for you that made the most sense. And you started feeling more comfortable with what you thought was going to happen when people die, but also while they're here. Like, you really learned a lot of techniques for helping people heal and really being able to channel a lot of energy work through Reiki, and being able to hypnotize people. I've tried to be hypnotized multiple times for my sleep issues, and it hasn't worked yet. But I'm not giving up. And I know that you are able to do a lot of this work with animals as well. So would you like to talk about how all of this energy work and all of your experience sort of started moving you in a direction of working with animals, because I know that you are a huge animal lover and an advocate for healthy animals everywhere. So let's talk about that part.
Yeah. So I have always been connected with animals since I was little. I even um, I had random animals also. And we lived in the suburban neighborhood where it's not normal to have a duck in the backyard, but we did. And so I've always had that connection with animals. And because I'm a sensitive, it works. I work really well with animals. Um, Also, along with that, I like to keep everything all natural. I am as natural as possible. I don't take any medications, don't see doctors or anything like that. And I know that's a whole nother story, but I really wanted to keep nutrition for my animals at a very high level so that I can keep them around as long as possible,
Mhm.
um, and for myself as well. So I started, when I started working on myself and started working on other people, I always included my pets.
Mm.
I always included, let me practice on my pets too. You know, this can work on them.
Mhm.
And always wanting to make sure that I could have natural methods, natural ways of healing myself and my pets to keep us as healthy as possible.
Right. You know, I have other friends who do a lot of work with animals, and they've always talked about how, like, when they're doing anything that requires getting into their energy field, right? Because we all have this energy field that goes out a certain amount from us. And the animals are just, they're so much more in tune with their field, and they're so much more open to having somebody help them with that because they don't have all these filters and expectations and things that humans have, right? Because we're all like, well, what's going to happen? And what is this? And what's she going to do next? Where the animals are just like, okay, that feels good. Thank you. Is that your experience?
Yes, animals are extremely intuitive, and very sensitive as well. And so that's why this energy work that I do, it works really well with animals because they are so, not only are they intuitive and sensitive, but they're also connected to their owners. And
Mm-hmm.
so when the owners are feeling pain or grief or sorrow or anything like that, the animal, it can affect the animal.
Mm,
And
right.
so it can
And
affect them.
they can feel if there's something physically wrong with their owners, if there's a lot of experience with dogs having some kind of reaction before the owner has a seizure or a heart attack, or they can tell where there's cancer in the body because they're always, coming and like touching that part of the person. And so yeah, I think that's really amazing. And people like you have these incredible gifts. And I think that's so, it's so helpful for people to know that it's a possibility. And so you're working through Otis Oliver's bakery, right? Dog bakery. Or no, what's the actual name? Because that's what's in my head.
Um,
I know that's not right.
so I own two businesses. I own Otis Oliver's Pet Bakery and Boutique, and with that company, I do make myself all natural gourmet dog treats.
Mm-hmm.
I use mostly organic products. I use high quality. I am regulated, state regulated in the state of Missouri, and licensed to sell treats. They've all been tested. And I've developed the treats, and I know that it's not food that you like their meal, but it's a treat that is going to be healthy for them. And I've put a lot of work and energy into making them as healthy as possible. They're limited ingredients. And I do craft fairs. I have my treats in a few stores as well already. I am growing. I just started in May.
Mm-hmm.
I opened that company in May, and I growing significantly since then. I've added animal Reiki to that business. And then I also have my hypnotherapy practice and energy healing through my other company, which I've had for over 10 years, The Exquisite Art of Healing. And so On both of those websites, I will have the animal Reiki, but I also do other services as well.
So I will make sure that the information about your websites is included below in the text or above, depending on where you're watching this video. And what I love is that you are so careful about what you're using for the animal treats, and you put so much love into it. And so it's not like you're buying a bag of cardboard flavored with peanut butter at the grocery store or whatever, or the pet store. Like, you're actually getting real food that will help the dog. Plus you have that injection of love in there. And then the energy work that you do on the animals, it's not something that you have to do with the animal right in front of you. It's not like somebody would have to bring their dog, their cat, their horse, their llama, their sheep, their hamster, their gerbil to you, and you don't have to go to them. You can actually do it on the phone, over Zoom, and other ways, correct?
Yes. So Reiki is a very effective tool for treating and rebalancing energy in animals and in humans. And the reason I do like it is because you can do it remote. The energy, it's based on quantum physics. The energy will go where your intention is. And so this is a very effective tool to work on. And because you have animals that aren't always predictable like a human would be, they have their own minds. They, are going to bark, they're going to not like certain people, they're super intuitive. Then you have like the horses and the wilder animals. So it's actually better to do this work remote so that they can be wherever they want in the house or outside in the barn or wherever, and
Right.
that kind of get to them. And it's not only effective for pain management, but also fears that they have, anxieties. It's also good for a sports performance, sports if they have sports injuries, like horses, if you're working horses and they have injuries, or dogs have just had surgery, and anything like that. It's really helpful for them, and they can feel it too.
So if you could real quickly, I mean, real quickly in a couple sentences, explain the whole Reiki quantum physics, quantum entanglement and all of the stuff. No, I'm just kidding, because it's impossible to do that in a couple of sentences. But I know that a lot of things that used to be really unknown, fringe, way out there kind of stuff, because it didn't have science connected to it. It was just what had been done for thousands of years in ancient cultures and has been, brought into our modern day life. And people were afraid of it because there was no science. Well, now the science is catching up, right? There's all the quantum physics and there's all these research things now, and there are tools that can actually measure the electromagnetic frequency of certain things, and the waves for this and the particles for that we couldn't do before. So now, if you could just kind of explain, how does Reiki actually work, whether you're doing it on a human or a dog or a cat or whatever. And I know you said what it's good for, which the anxiety and all that would also be for a human as well. But can you explain how it is that you have this flowing through you?
Yes. So that is correct, because of the energy, we are all energy. And so when you're attuned to Reiki, it just opens your energy paths that much more. And when your energy paths are open, the Reiki energy flows through you, and through your intention. That's how powerful we are. It allows the consciousness of that energy to flow into the human or into the pet.
Mm-hmm.
So it is scientifically proven that this is a thing. It's not just this
It's
woo
not
woo.
just woo-woo fringe crazy stuff. Yeah.
It's not magic at all. It's, it's a natural part of who we are as
Right.
humans. and who animals are. We are all energy. Our thoughts are energy. The things that we're sitting on are energy. Our energy bodies can feel when somebody is giving us energy. Whether you're attuned to Reiki or not, you can still give somebody energy in a positive way or in a negative way. That's what prayer is. That's what love is. That's what hate is. If you have like a negative thought or feeling about someone, they're gonna feel that
Right.
consciously or unconsciously. So it's just, all it is energy that's flowing through you out to the other, wherever you're directing it. It's directing energy in a healing way. And it's very safe, it's very subtle, but very, very powerful,
Hmm.
uh, effective, natural tool. And that's my biggest thing. It's natural, and
Hmm.
it's an effective way of healing people
Right.
and animals.
You don't have to cut somebody up. You don't have to, do any kind of modification to the body, whether it's a human or an animal body. It just is, because the energy is around us. It's in it. It's coming out. It's coming in. It's everywhere. And so it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And even if I don't feel it happening, I know that it has done things for me as well. And so I think it's really cool that you're able to offer that to people all over the place. And I don't know, I just think it's really nice how you've been able to take that first tragic event in your life and start finding your path and collecting all of these tools, these skills, all just everything puts together in this puzzle, and it makes sense. And like we were talking before I hit the record button, is right now at this moment in time, your focus is really on the dog treats and the animal Reiki. And it's so simple. It's so simple compared to all the bits and pieces that you've learned that you could have gone any direction. Are you still doing your hypnotherapy business?
Yes, I do also do a lot of hypnotherapy remote, and
Hmm.
I know that's an interesting concept as well.
Hmm.
Um, Typically, I do like to see a person at least once in person, but I do have clients from all over, from California, just everywhere, and
Hmm.
so that's not always possible. And I think it's more accepted now that through some events that have happened in the past, now a lot more people are remote. So
Right.
I do hypnotherapy. I am certified as a QHHT practitioner. That one needs to be done in person.
Can
That's
you tell people what the QHHT stands for?
Yes, that is a method that Dolores Cannon developed, and it stands for Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And you start off basically with a past life regression that leads into talking to your higher self and getting healing from within. It's a technique, and a lot of people really love this new. I'm calling it new because it's becoming more. People are more aware of it now than they ever have been. But she has been around for a long time. She's no longer with us, but her technique um, is is a very powerful tool. So I do have my private practice where I do see people. I do energy work on people as well. I do energy work on animals, and I do have clients that I do see for my in my private practice. Yes.
In your private practice, we have just another minute or two here, but in your private practice for humans, when you're hypnotizing them, what would you say are like the main things that people want to be hypnotized for? Like for me, it was trying to help me get sleep. And I know people go for weight loss and smoking and things like that. Is there anything in particular that you see more often than not?
Yes, actually. I see a lot of people that have severe anxiety or panic attacks, also fears, like
Mhm.
fear of flying, fear of whatever their fear is. And it is more traditional hypnotherapy that I do with them. It's very effective on those types um, of like fears and all of that. So that's mostly what I see
Mhm.
and what I like to what I attract, what I like to to have clients as. And so we work together to release those from a subconscious level, which can be extremely easy, and it doesn't have to take a long time.
And again, you're not cutting into somebody's skull to do it. You're using a hypnosis technique. So that's great. Is there anything in the final 30 seconds that you would like to make sure people know?
Yeah, that animals are beautiful beings, and that they are teaching us just as much as we are teaching them. Also keeping it simple, keeping it all natural, keeping it simple. The simpler the better. That's all I can say. Through everything that I've learned, I come
Yeah,
back to being simple with entire life. And that is really the key that I've learned through all of this, is that going back to basics, keeping things simple, healing natural, finding tools and techniques that are going to work for you. And there's no shortcut in life, but it doesn't have to be hard.
right, right. We make things a lot more complicated than we need to. I'm very guilty of that. So.
I am too.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sheri. I appreciate you sharing a little bit of your story. And I know there's so much more, and we could talk for the next 3 days about all the things that you know and can help people with. But I'll just say that if you're interested in learning more about what Sheri can offer, please look at all the contact information and reach out to her and look at her websites and make sure that you get what you need for you or for your animals.
Thank you so much, Julie.